we're here with Jason Fitness, and I'm a Jason Fitness athlete. So this is a true testament to whether or not it really works. Can you freaking believe that? Next month it'll be a year.
Yeah, it was the summer. It was like right when the summer was coming. You're right.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's good.
I want to go back to talking about when I first started taking the classes.
All right.
600 calories had me feeling like I was going to pass out taking the class.
As it should.
Right. So, but fast forward a year, I'm taking the 5:15 a.m. class, and I'm not going to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to eat something prior to. Mm-hmm. So I'm able to take those classes fasted. Is that something that over time my body has built up to being able to do, or should I be eating?
No, it's the first one. Your body's definitely built up to it.
Okay.
And this goes back to like what I said before, like everybody's different. Like there's no right or wrong way. There's things that have been proven to work more than others. Mm-hmm. You know, there's things that, you know, have given better results more times out of not. But at the end of the day, like, you got to find what works for you. Like if you're eating in the morning, because I think it also depends on what your goal is. Like if your goal is fat loss, yeah, you know what? You're gonna get a more effective workout coming in a fasted state because you're not giving yourself energy before you try to burn off energy, you know? Now, if your goal is weight training, doing strength, building muscle, any of that stuff, power-based stuff, then yeah, you should try to have something in theory because you want the gas. Like, you want to be able to push yourself.
Okay.
Where if you're not too worried about that, like, could you still get a good workout? Absolutely, but like, it's going to be 10% less effective, 15% less effective. It really depends. Like for somebody who's an athlete, you want to get maximum potential every time.
Okay. Somebody
who's just coming in for general fitness, they want to move around a little bit, sweat, feel better about themselves, look better, you know. If you bench 185 versus 200, like, is anybody really going to care? Probably not. Or like, well, a lot of our clients care about is how do I look in my clothes, you know? So I don't think it matters so much, you know. I think it matters based on your goal, based on your experience level, and based on how fast you want to go, you know. If somebody is brand new, are they going to be able to work out fasted? No, for a bunch of reasons, right?
Right.
But somebody who's got the tolerance built up, like I don't eat before I work out. Like I don't like to because then the food's sitting in your stomach, right? You can argue it both ways. If you eat before you work out, now the food's sitting in your stomach. Right. You know, with the food sitting in your stomach, blood's going there because it wants to digest the food, and that's blood that's not going to your muscles, and you just can't, you're not as effective. You could also argue where, okay, well, if I do eat, I'm going to have more glycogen and more carbohydrates available. The blood's not in my blood's still in my stomach, but I have more energy to push myself. So that's why I say you can really argue it either way. You could have somebody who has all the science, all like the reports and everything under the sun to say, here's the reason why you should do this. And you'll have just as many people on the other side with their own set of reports, their own set of experts, their own set of case studies, all the same stuff that say, no, here's the reason why our way is right. At the end of the day, it's really just, okay, what makes more sense for you?
Right.
You know, and if you can take that mentality and not pigeonhole yourself into, well, it's this way or no way, I think people are going to do better off. You know, it's not, like I said, it's not one way fits all. It's just, hey, this is what's worked. If it relates to you, great. If it doesn't, you forget about it.
Well, because it reminds me of that when we were kids and we'd be at the town pool and they'd be like, oh, you know, if you ate, you got to wait half an hour before you go into the pool.
Yeah, but that's the reason why. Like, the reason why is because you're going to have the blood in your stomach
right.
versus your muscles. They don't want you getting a cramp.
Right.
Now, me personally, I've never seen that happen. Like, I've never seen somebody eat and then drown.
Right.
You know, but I've seen people get eaten by sharks and drown, you know, but like, you don't see anybody, I've never seen somebody have a sandwich and they're fucking dead in the pool. Like, I've never seen that. I'm sure it has happened, right? But like, it's all a matter of just like, and there's a window. Like, I would say safely, if you're looking for a window, you can argue anywhere from 45 to 90 minutes, depending on what you ate. Like, some things break down and absorb faster than others. But if you're looking at like 45 to 90 minutes, I think that's a safe range for most people, you know, before you work out.
Yeah. Yeah, so then that really does, I would have to get up at like the butt crack, like I would have to get up when you get up.
Which means what? 2 o'clock in the morning.
2 o'clock in the morning.
Exactly. So,
before I work out. That's not happening.
No, but it also depends what you ate too. Like, if you're going to have a piece of fruit piece of fruit's not going to take that long to digest in your system. You'll have that energy almost right away. But if you're going to have like a granola bar, or something that's got some fats inside of it, yeah, it's going to take a lot more to absorb. So once again, it goes back to what your goal is, what you need to do today, you know, what your time frames are, how fast you're looking to work, and like what you're eating. There's a lot of variables. So you can't necessarily say one way or the other.
Well, those early morning workouts are usually heavy lifting because we're doing squats.
The ones that you go to are heavy. Yeah.
Right. So we'll use me as an example. So if I'm, you know, like right now, I did 210. We're supposed to go heavier. Like if I want to be able to go like max out on my 1 rep, you know, personal record, should I eat before?
I mean, in theory, you should. In theory, you should. You're going to have more energy, right? However, same thing. Like, you know, if you eat and the blood's still in your stomach, are you going to push yourself as much? So, listen, a lot of people won't agree with me, but, like, it's not the answer that a lot of people want. Like, everybody wants such a definitive, like, this is the way to do it.
Yeah.
It's not. Like, it's a matter of, like, I like to look at all the reasons and say, okay, great. What makes the most sense? Right? Okay, great. This makes sense for me. I'm going to try this. If I get good feedback, great, we're going to keep doing that. If I don't get good feedback, great, I'm going to try it the other way. And whatever way works better, that's just what I'm going to adapt for me. There's a little bit of trial and error, but I think a lot of people where they mess up is they do the trial and error, but they don't know what they're necessarily looking for or doing.
Right.
So they go through trial and error, but they don't know what they don't know, which is where having a coach, a trainer, an instructor, a mentor, any of the millions of names that we have, somebody who can give you that honest feedback and like see the, you know, observe the right stuff and tell you right away, hey, here's what I'm noticing. You know, you can cut down those time frames a lot more, and you know, everything's about dialing it in. You always hear the term dial it in, right? What does that mean? It means, well, fucking find what works for you.
So like this week, we're supposed to be finding my, you know, my 1 rep max. It's way too late to dial it in to find that, you know, what works. Right? It's too late at this point. So I got to keep doing what I've been doing. Because if I try something new at this point, I'm going to fail. I don't want to fail. I know I can do it right now.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily?
I mean, you might make the right choice. You might say, I'm going to eat, and then I eat, and then you feel better. Like, there's no way to know. You know, would that have been something you should have tested beforehand?
Yeah.
But you didn't. So, me personally, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Right.
You know, you can always try it again later.
Yeah.
You know, but that's just more of having the foresight of, okay, hey, let's figure out, are we eating or are we not eating? You know.
All right, so there's something that I want to try, and we talked about it briefly. And I said, is it cap or fact? And by the way, I feel really weird saying cap or fact because...
So what is a cap?
Is it not true?
Can't we just do true or not true?
Yeah, all right, so true or not true?
I mean, I can say cap if you want. My kids will probably like it, but like, I'm going to buck it up.
Say that too.
All right.
They're going to make fun of us because we shouldn't be saying that. And if it is a fact, is it a good hack?
Okay.
Gym related.
Okay.
So I saw an influencer post on Instagram that when you're going to do an RDL and you're going heavy, instead of starting with the weights on the floor, put them on the bench.
Okay.
So that, you know, when you're getting the, you know, yourself set, you're getting it from there.
Okay.
As opposed to from all the way down here.
It depends what you're training for, what your goal is, right? So, like, if your goal is to not throw your back out, like, okay, yeah, reaching down to the ground hurts your back, and you start from the top, it's less strain on your back, you can get into better form before you go down, yeah, why not? Now, if you're trying to compete in any kind of tested event, right, like a CrossFit or what's that other one, the Hydrox, or any of these other things where there's specific, hey, you have to go from the ground up. Like, if you're in a situation where a full rep counts from the ground up and then back down, well, you got to train that way because you got to lift it off the ground anyway. So why would you start from the bench? That's not the way you're going to perform. You know, so there's that. At the same time, too, like, how much weight are you deadlifting? Like, if you're putting 405 on the bar and you're resting on the bench...
They were dumbbells, not like a barbell. It was dumbbells.
I mean, look, if you're going to use hand wraps to hold the dumbbells, yeah, that makes sense because you're not getting all the way down. You know, you can argue that either way. Is it bad? No, it's not. You know, that's also a matter of like, do you want to train the concentric or the eccentric phase of the deadlift? So like the concentric phase meaning you're creating force, right? So that's like training if your body was a car and you had a gas pedal and a brake. Concentric motions would be your gas pedal and eccentric motions would be the brake pedal, right? Okay. So on a deadlift, since we're talking about RDLs, deadlifts, all that shit, right? A deadlift, the concentric phase, try saying that 5 times fast, is from the ground up. You're starting with zero tension in your body, you're creating tension, and then you're lifting it up, right? The muscle shortens. Where with an eccentric motion, you're decelerating force and redirecting, kind of like a bow and arrow. So the example I make of that is this. So we're gonna do a little test. Put your hand right here on me.
Okay.
Okay. I want you to tap my knee as hard as you can. Harder. Harder. Harder.
That's it.
It's pretty sad.
I know.
Now, I'm not going to break your finger. Put it back. What hit harder? That one, right?
Yeah.
So the reason why that one hit harder is you have a force, right? You're pulling back, stretching out the fascial connective tissue, and then you're letting it go. So it's pulled back like a bow and arrow. So imagine you had a bow and arrow, right? I have the bow. I have the arrow, I put it on the string, I don't pull back on the string, I let it go. What's gonna happen?
It's just gonna fall.
It's gonna fucking fall. But if I had that bow, I put the arrow in there, I pull the arrow all the way back, I stretch out the bend, and I let it go. What's gonna happen?
It's gonna fly.
You're gonna fucking murder a bitch, right? So the difference is the amount of tension that's on it, getting that stretching motion, and then letting all that kinetic energy redirect. That's kind of what happened, that is exactly what happens on so like a racked RDL, or like the way this influencer room sounded like she was doing it. You start from the top, especially if you got a bad back. Like if you, most people's hamstring flexibility is fucking garbage, right? So they're going on the ground, they're going to deadlift. You should be stabilizing from your spine, but you're stabilizing from like your chest, your abs, your obliques, your hip flexors. You're very front chain dominant, right? And then you go to lift it, and you're in bad position. You didn't get your core straight, so now you're lifting with bad position, and that's how you throw your back out. But if you're starting eccentrically, you can start from the top with the weight, right, straight, and now you're lowering yourself into it. The muscles already have the tension where they want to be, but now because they're locked in, they're stretching out the fascial connective tissue, so when you stand back up, all that tension slingshots you back up. So, me personally, somebody with a horrible back, you know, bad back, bad knee, bad shoulder, bad everything. Do I do it? Absolutely. Is it the best? No, it's not necessarily the best. If, like I said, it depends again what your goal is, right? What you're training for, what you're trying to avoid, like injury-wise, stuff like that, and you know how fast you're looking to go. Like that's just a lot of things. Also, the ease of like loading the bar. Like, if somebody's not going to load the bar because they're lazy, which happens all the time, deadlift's just a shitty part of the job, right? You put the bar in the rack or on your bench, you change it out, you put your wraps on, you think it's an easier setup. So, yeah, is it going to be as effective? Maybe not. But if you actually do it, because you don't hate it then, like, I can see that being a hack. Okay. But, like, is it going to be life-changing? Not really. Okay. Is it going to make a difference? It will. But that's why like fitness is such a weird thing, because like you can so many times when I would say something is bad for these people, there'll be somebody over here where it actually makes sense. But that's where I think a lot of people get confused. You see these influencers who are like, hey, you need to do this way, or you need to do that way, or here's why you need to do this, or here's what you should be doing for. Who the fuck are you? Like, what do you know about my life? What we try to do is to say, hey, here's what we found works for us. If it applies to you, great. If not, forget all about it. You know, we just try to give different examples of things we've seen work in real life with our clients versus like, you have to do it this way.
Right.
There's no one way to do anything. That's just what we found. So them doing the bench, I think it's a great idea. I think it can make the exercise a lot more enjoyable and a lot more easier to do for a lot of people. But is it like a fact that it makes it easier? No. It makes certain parts of it easier, but it's still going to be a hard exercise. Okay. So I would say true, but not necessarily a hack. Bobby? All right.
So I just want you to know that your coach, one of your coaches said that it was just common sense.
Yeah, I mean, if it makes your life easier, I mean, it just, you know, you're not testing for, like, if you're a CrossFitter or a powerlifter, you have to start from the ground.
Yeah.
Like, it's different for everybody, so. Pretty sad.
I know.
No, I'm not going to break your finger. Put it back.
Prior to, yes, I hear the boat too.
I was like, what the fuck?
It's okay. They won't. We hear it. The mic hopefully won't. Let me start that over.
Because that's based off your macros and what makes more sense. What are they gonna say? I'm like, yeah, I can't eat 9 fucking egg whites. Like, and it's just like, you know, but it's that's the long answer.
That's a long answer. It also sounded like a commercial. This part we'll edit out, so we're not.